This week, we speak with Daniel Lowrie and Justin Dennison from ITProTV. In the new segment, it's time to update Chrome. Almost the end of time for Python 2, always time to check your cloud config, maybe time for a trip off world, and more. Stay tuned for Application Security Weekly.
This is a Security Weekly production. Make sure your team is prepared to fight off the latest cybersecurity threat. ITProTV is the resource to keep you and your IT team skills up to date. You can stream ITProTV courses live and on demand, so there's no need to send staff to off-site training. Team subscriptions include Pro Portal, so managers have full control over your team's training schedule. Go to itpro.tv/ASW and use the code ASW30 to try it free for 7 days and receive 30% off your monthly membership. Signal Sciences secures the most important web applications, APIs, and microservices of the world's leading companies. Protecting over 7,500 applications and 150 billion production requests per week, Signal Sciences Next-Gen WAF and RASP help companies increase security and maintain site reliability without sacrificing velocity, all at the lowest total cost of ownership. Signal Sciences' patented technology protects any application against any attack, with integrations into any DevOps toolchain. Signal Sciences, demand more from your WAF. Learn more at signalsciences.com/PSW.
Welcome to Application Security Weekly. This is episode 83, recorded November 4th, 2019. I'm your host, Mike Shima. I'm here with Matt Alderman.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, Matt. And we still have John Kinsella with us. He hasn't traveled anywhere yet. This is good.
Woo-hoo, I actually canceled this week, and I'm happy to be home.
That's good. We're happy to have you here, John. We have exciting news about the Security Weekly webcast program. We are now partnered with ISC Squared as an official CPE provider. If you attend any of our webcasts, you will receive 1 CPE credit per webcast. Register for one of our upcoming webcasts with Bryce Schroeder and Barbara Kay of ServiceNow, Kevin O'Brien of Great Horn, or Steve Lovenstein of Core Security, or all of them, by going to securityweekly.com. Click the webcast dropdown and select registration. If you have missed any of our previously recorded webcasts, you can find our on-demand library by selecting On Demand from the webcast dropdown. Daniel Lowrie teaches security and pen testing content for ITProTV. Justin Dennison leads the content development for the DevProTV channel within ITProTV. And we have them both here with us today. Hello, Daniel. Hello, Justin. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having us, man.
Hello, Mike.
Hello. It's great. It's great for you to be here. And I think what we're going to do is actually talk about training developers and how can we bridge that gap between developers and security. But maybe what we should do is dive in and show a little bit of the approach you've taken. So why don't we check out one of the videos you've made?
That sounds awesome.
Let me guess. Justin.
Yeah, I'm glad I caught you here, Daniel.
I'm sure you are.
I just finished that new web app for our current customer. Real nice. Drupal made it super easy.
Yeah, Drupal makes things easy, and it can also make things easy to hack if you don't do it right.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm sure you went out and got the latest version of Drupal, correct?
Nah, I had one.
So, which is not the latest.
Nah.
Yeah, that's probably going to be an issue. There's real problems with Drupal, so we're going to have to take a look at that.
Yeah, I guess we are then.
Yeah, but right now, just trying to relax. Just chill, okay?
You know what'd soothe your soul?
What's that?
Taking a look at this web app.
Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine. It's called Metasploit. Oh. You're going to like it, I think. So let's see here. That. And say it with me. Remote code execution.
That's bad, isn't it?
That's bad.
Can you hand me that?
Sure.
I'll just go ahead and work on this. You enjoy the rest of your break.
You too.
I absolutely love it. The "Nah, I had one" is that's my favorite line. I'm just going to have to steal that one. That's great.
Hey, that's we all stand on the shoulders of giants, right?
Exactly.
So what I love about that is that I think you just introduced us to a security topic right there. And what you've done is you've completely avoided like the Owasp bullet point project or something like that. So we didn't just hear you reading off some bullet points and showing us a PowerPoint. And all of us laughed. We pretty much enjoyed it. What, why did you take this approach? And I'm going to ask too, is a bit of a leading question. Why is this working? Because I'm pretty sure it is working when you have us engaged and watching it the whole way through.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that, is the fact that it can be really easy to tune out a voiceover PowerPoint presentation. We've all been there and done that, and it's not a lot of fun. So we were looking to make it a bit more contextual and a lot more entertaining so that you stay engaged with the content. So we were just kind of kicking around the idea, wouldn't it be more fun if it was like a television show? And I know we can't do like a full TV show, but we can do these short little excerpts as we walk through the Owasp content, and just made one for each one of them to show some context around, give you that specific idea where this could go wrong and does go wrong, which is why you find it in Owasp top 10, every iteration of that document when it comes out. Let's try to grab people's attention a little better, shake them by the neck and go, hey, check this out, and get their eyes on it. And once they see, it's funny, so you can stay engaged, but it's also like, I might have actually done that. And then you start feeling,
So, I'll be completely honest. It's a caricature. Obviously,
Right.
we're playing characters, which actually the follow-up videos get a little weird because then we're not in character, and people go, well, hold on, am I supposed to trust you or not? But when I was, full developer doing my thing, I did some of these things. Looking back, I went, oh, that's bad. But it was because people would tell me it's bad, but not actually give me any real life circumstances of where it's bad for me. So like the Drupal thing, I've used older versions. Oops. I don't anymore since making this, just by the way. But now that we made this little vignette, oh, well, you made it quickly. That's what you're supposed to do. You got it working. Yeah, but now security is a concern. Oopsie daisy, I got to go back and work on it. So it plays off a couple of things. I got to go back and fix it. But also now we could have all kinds of bad things happen. The caricatures of our two respective personalities were just fun for us and hopefully fun for everyone else as well.
I think it is fun.
What I was going to say is the video does a great job of introducing the issue, right?
Right.
And you capture them in a very funny way, which I think is good. How do you now teach them through, these are the kinds of steps you need to do? How do you take that funny vignette that really gets the point across and now come up with a set of steps that you can now educate them on? How does that next step actually happen with you guys?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what we did was we used that vignette as a context wrapper. Now we have an idea of what this could look like, albeit a caricature and funny, but this is the kind of things that do actually happen. Now we use that as a springboard into, okay, well, let's go to a Owasp document. Let's look at the top 10. Let's take a look at this specific attack type and go in and look at the different types that they're talking about. And now we have that context. Oh, I see this is saying that if I'm using older or known unreliable types of software packages, I could be opening myself up. And I've got a really good context to see that. Now, not only do we have the vignette, he actually spins up a web application that's using that version of Drupal, and I attack it, gain remote code execution using Metasploit, do the things that we talked about, and now it gives even more teeth to sink in, this is super dangerous. Then we jump into another episode. So we take them there. We take them right, hit them in the fear, give them some good fear, see this could occur. Now he jumps in and says, okay, let's take a look at why I would want to, why did I do that? What could I have done better based off of the information that we've now seen? And it becomes a storytelling activity instead of let me just cram information into your head and hopefully some of it sticks. You've now got a story for it to help cling to that memory, and it does a better job of that.
And actually, when we created these vignettes, we tried to take it a different way, like setting the setting, right, for what we're trying to accomplish. We started with stories that were funny, and we quickly found that we just ended up with stuff that was funny that wasn't necessarily applicable.
Yeah.
So from then on, we started with, all right, which Owasp top 10 are we working with? Cool. Now let's go look at some of the examples. Hey, well, there's one, Drupal, old version of Drupal or old version of something. Okay, well, I'm now going to build something that's poorly built or misconfigured or whatever it may be. We're going to make sure Daniel can exploit it. And now we build the vignette around that to set up. It's essentially, the hook at the beginning of a movie. Why do you continue watching a movie? Because the first 10 minutes, something goes, well, there you go. And then we build to a climax, and then we have a resolution. And then there's a bookend video for most of the topics where we go, all right, we showed you a very specific example, but now how does this look in different capacities, where we look at, how it manifests in a couple of different languages or with different packages, just to show you, hey, we showed you one and showed you kind of the thought process about how we would address that as a security professional and as a developer, but it can happen a multitude of different ways, and here's some other ways that can happen.
And you're bringing this from very much a background grounded in doing this work yourselves. I mean, you mentioned, even just the vignette we saw was mentioning Drupal, mentioning Metasploit, but these are not unknown tools to you. And I think that's probably got to help a little bit when you're trying to explain what's going on, as well as what you were just saying, having empathy, I think, is really what you're getting at for the developers. And yeah, they need to write code, but they need to, they're struggling with understanding this. So I guess maybe let me ask this way. What was your background that brought you into actually making these videos?
I have a varied background. I've been to grad school for engineering. I did some development work. I did some tech support work. I was a teacher for a while. And just kind of the amalgamation of all of those experiences kind of led me here. And I know when I was actively developing, there was this competing pressure of let's get it done and get it done now versus let's get it done securely or correctly. And part of the reason we always went with get it done now, that's what paid the bills. That's what brought money in without any long-term, it was very short-sighted. But what would happen is the training, the resources weren't necessarily something that I could engage in or could make an excuse for myself to engage in. But if something had hooked me, right? I have a personality type, and Daniel has a personality type where if it hooks us, then it's all in. And I guess that's why I've had this meandering career path that's led to a variety of experiences that help in this context.
Yeah, and I come from a background to where I just was interested in computers, decided to make that a career choice, happened to get working at a hospital, workstation support. Then I went and got certifications, and from there became a trainer, then jumped back into the do-it field where I was working as a systems and network administrator for our insurance company. And from there I came here to ITProTV because friends of mine started a company. They said, hey, it might be a good fit here. Plus, I'm just one of those weird, I like to tell stories. Justin and I are both kind of like similar backgrounds when it comes to, that's just how we grew up. We tell stories. So when it came to education, I thought, this is what makes it stick in my brain. So why are you just like hammering me with bullet points and brute facts? If you told this in a story fashion, I would have memorized every bit of this. So I always had the idea of let's connect context so that our brains have something tangible to latch onto. And once you do that, it just becomes real easy because you're invested emotionally. You start caring about the characters or the story, and all the actual information that you're trying to get across to your students becomes just a byproduct of them being invested into wanting to watch, listen to us two yahoos giggle on about, be children in front of the camera and have a good time, and then give you that information. And for some strange reason, I've just seen that become a really good vehicle for retention. And that's what it all boils down to. Then I just got into security, just being here, and Don set me on the path, and I just started learning everything I could.
It reminds me of education or knowledge is like 30% knowledge and 70% drama or theater. So just being able to hook. They wouldn't let us use any pyrotechnics, so we had to go for the funny.
Next time.
Yep.
Next time. Well, I think you've been talking about storing what you two yahoos, as you put it, can do. Let's check out some more content that you put together.
All right.
Okay, this is not good. This is not good. Look at all these errors. What has he done? Why is he? I gotta tell him. I've gotta tell him. I've got an idea.
Hey, Justin. Hey, Daniel. So glad I found you. I just finished the new e-commerce app for the client. Pushed out some new features. Wondering if you had a chance to look at it.
Oh yeah, I've had a chance to look at it. All right, it is horrible.
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? Well, let's see. I think you left the debug flag turned on because I'm getting errors all over the place. Plus, hard-coded some creds, did you?
Huh. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to go work on that.
That would be awesome.
I love that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, so the character, I ended up being like this mythical creature that had like superpowers. I don't know if it was driven by, horrible security practices or large amounts of caffeine, or I don't know.
Our twisted imaginations.
It's probably that third one.
A healthy dose of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, you never explained the monster. That's okay.
Well, you know what I love about that one, though, is, and each one of these vignettes that we've done, is we tried to really inject things that people are doing on a regular basis, and you hear about it in the news or you see a report or whatever, and you go, did they really do that? And yeah, they really did that. So it's when we're trying to make it funny, it's easy to just start throwing, silly, ridiculous things that we should not be, just like simple security things like don't hard code credentials. I mean, that is basic security practice. It happens all the time. So we just wanted to like pepper our stuff with that kind of thing.
But it's perfectly okay if I base 64 and code it.
Oh yeah, then it's good to go.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
great.
the perfect example is our own app internally. Paul actually bypassed authentication by just setting it to true and then forgot to uncomment it back out when he pushed it to production because he was working on dev code. But this stuff happens all the time, right? Yeah. You don't turn off the debug flag or you leave credentials hard-coded in there. These are common mistakes that developers make all the time in testing and then forget to pull it out when you move this stuff into staging or production environment. I mean, these are very serious bugs.
Yeah, we talk about how a lot of times when it comes to development, and Justin speaks to this a lot, is done is better than perfect. You got somebody breathing down your neck going, we got to get this out. We've got a deadline to meet. We've got a client that's unhappy. We want to see a product that we can give to them because as we know, it's not just us, it's our team that interfaces with clients and the public and so on and so forth. So you get all these external pressures and you forget about the fact that you've done this instead of setting up a policy that says, all right, now that we have what we would call done, let's go back through it and make sure that some security has been applied. Did we leave any hardcode credentials? Is the debug flags turned on for testing purposes? If so, we need to remedy that and then have a fully ready product once that security procedure has gone through.
And sometimes that pressure ends up, you adopt tools like Django. Debug was on true by default. I think they've actually changed that since now. But cool, Django lets me get things done quickly. Boom, done, push to production, looks good. Uh-oh, now we're in trouble. So some bad defaults didn't help, but I know when I was in a development role, there were times where I was asked to take on additional responsibilities or because I was just trying to have features done, I didn't take the time to go, was there a non-secure defaults here, right? Is debug flag turned on? Are there creds that are just kind of built in that I need to change? And I didn't think it was my responsibility. And then I was asked to deploy things, and I hadn't taken the time to get up to snuff, so to speak. And then not to mention that I was also told to just base 64 and code stuff. We won't get into that. I felt like that was wrong, but I still did it nonetheless.
We should just start calling it Super Safe 64.
Yeah, Super Safe 64.
That way you know.
But yeah, it happens a lot more than I would care to say that it doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of a cool reaction, because they're obviously, it hit home with Matt as he was describing some work that Paul had been doing. You were just describing, how you have, in the past dived into code. There's a lot of that resonates with me, actually, on both sides, writing as well as finding those problems. When you're putting these videos together, what kind of reaction are you trying to get out of the viewers, or what kind of response are you really aiming for reviewers to take home from these?
I think it's like a strong realization, right? The funny is there to just get you to go, hold on, wait, what was that? Right? The amount of perplexity where it's off the cuff, kind of off color, maybe where you're not expecting it because you're expecting bullet points, or I've went through some horribly dry security training. Now I'm engaged, but then you go, well, wait a minute, what did he say? Yeah, I'm using an old version of Drupal, and that's bad. Or the debug flag's on, that's bad. I kind of want I'm leaning in a little bit, right, for the storytelling, right. And then all of a sudden I go, oh, well, that's a stark realization that we actually do some of those things.
Yeah, we wanted to get at people from a more of a philosophical level, and not so much, not that we don't do here's some steps that you can take, but here's the biggest step you can take: change your mindset, to start thinking in a secure way. If I've just started using a new technology, does it have some unsafe defaults? I should just think of that out of the gate. That's where we want to get people to, because if we have like a paradigm shift of how people think when they start developing and working with new technologies, and implementing that out into the wild where people are going to make contact with it, and they are just by nature thinking, I can't trust the user because there's probably a bad user out there who's either malicious purposefully, or accidentally. So I need to go with worst case scenario on everything, and hope for the best but plan for the worst.
Yeah, I think we've got one more video, time for that. So let's check out the third one and look for some of the planning for best, hoping for worst.
Daniel, I'm so glad that I found you. So I've been working on this app for like 3 days. I've been breathing down my neck about it. Finally finished it. I mean, I couldn't get any sleep or anything, but to really finish it out, I'm gonna need you to take a look at it.
All right, Gary Busey, calm down. We'll take a look.
Yeah, like now.
3 days, you say?
Yep.
Well, let's do it. Let's take a look. All right. So what's the domain?
H. A.
Okay.
W.
Gotcha.
T.
I'm there.
.ourdomain.com.
HAWT.
It's hot.
Okay. Here we go. Let's see. All right, it's that e-commerce site you've been working so. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's good right there, isn't it?
This is not good. This is company data.
Yes,
it's hot. Data.
It's hot. Yeah, baby. Woo! It's hot. Woo! Yeah, it's hot.
I love how you come up from behind my head.
Yeah. Oh man, I tell you,
the things we do.
I don't know. I'm surprised they let us get by with that one. I'm not gonna lie.
And just that slow camera pan, that was art right there. That was awesome.
Yeah. we got to give a shout out to the production team on that.
Amazing production.
That was all there. They're a talented group of individuals, and they did a fantastic job with taking what we saw in our heads and translating it into actual like vignettes that we could use and not throw in the garbage and go, well, that was dumb. Let's go back to normal teaching.
Yeah. Disrupted the office a great deal with that
quite
one as
a
well.
bit. Yeah.
So
he got loud.
I did.
That's
As
good.
As I watch these, something pops into my head. You guys are obviously, you're aiming these towards the end user that you're trying to educate, and that's your audience. Do you ever, as I'm watching what I'm thinking about is the security guy on the other side of the fence. Do you find, are they learning are they watching these by any chance and learning how to interact with their developers a little better? Hopefully their developers aren't sort of running behind them like that, but is there a sort of, because there's two parts to this, right? How do you educate the developer in a sticky way, to use that phrase, but also is there an ability here to educate, it's can be an us versus them thing. Can those folks get educated and understand, hey, if we add a little bit of humor, we add a little bit of little more humanist, to sort of coin words, does that sort of come into the picture at all? Are you getting any feedback around that?
So I will say for the vignettes, it gets a little touchy. If you learn how to interact with developers through those characters, man, that's a weird office dynamic.
It is.
But in the follow-up episodes where Daniel exploits, I fix, and then we kind of we spend a great deal of time talking about being collaborative in nature. Like, this is not an us versus them thing, right? Daniel's not here to like bust my bubble or give me a hard time as the developer or slow me down, as it will.
Right.
He's here to make sure that as a company and together, we're making a secure product that helps the company, is profitable to the company. So we did spend a bunch of time being collaborative in nature, or emphasizing that in the follow-up ones. I would caution individuals to not use the vignettes as a means of determining how.
Yes, as a model.
Yeah. I would not. Gets a little iffy there.
Yeah, those are more for the hook and kind of get you engaged, give you that tactile, something sticky to grab a hold of, and then keep that context as we go into that more collaborative role. I've told people over and over again, especially when I've done some speaking engagements, I say, when it comes to penetration testing and red teaming and working as a security team, my job is to help the blue team, developers, anybody that's doing security where they're trying to lock things down, harden, and make the product and the company as secure as it could possibly be. If popping shells is a lot of fun. Anybody that does that knows it. He got to do it for the first time and enjoyed the mess out of it because it's super fun. But if you stop there, you're missing the boat. It's now, how can we prevent that from the future? Okay, now we've got a problem. Let's work together, see why that happened, remediate that, go back, see if we can do it. If not, great. Now let's move on. Let's start patching the holes together and not just, hey, I blew a hole in your fence. Good luck. I blew a hole in your fence again. Good luck. It's definitely this. It's a team effort.
And we tried to make sure that the conversations that we had during the episodes were about this collective learning experience, right? Got my first shell. It was exhilarating. I don't know if my attention span is long enough to do it for a long amount of time. But I saw, well, why was I able to do that? Because of something that I did. I shouldn't do that, right? It led to an issue. Likewise, talking to Daniel, like injection attacks. Well, why are these occurring? Well, I'll tell you why. When I first started learning the program, how did you make a giant long message with user input? You just smash stuff together, which is fine for these small little, toy apps. But when you're talking about web apps with a database, or you're doing dynamic queries, oops, that's probably not a good way to go about doing it. So, okay, well, now he has an approach that he can speak with the developer about. Like, I know you learned string concatenation, right? That's a way to smash values together. But that's probably not a great way to do it if you're doing dynamic queries or if you're shelling out to run a command, because those are injection points. Let me show you. And now I've learned something, he's learned something. We've kind of collectively gotten better for it.
Right. Now, if I'm a developer, trying to look at the vignettes, right, and they're like, "Ooh, I want to learn more." Where do they start? I mean, how IT Pro has a lot of content, first of all, right? But is there a specific subsection of that content that developers really should go take a look at? Point them to the right place.
So I think that's actually organized under the security one. It kind of depends on the bent. So recently I've been doing a little more like security-minded development, which is getting organized under the security tab. I do have some entry-level development courses that would be under the Dev Pro tab, as well as kind of smattered throughout. I would probably point them, if you're already a developer, you're building these forward-facing applications, the Owasp series is probably where I would start as far as getting up to speed, having a little bit of a good time. We try to keep these very concise in nature, at least the first few. That way, on a lunch break, boom. Oh yeah. We do that. You come back, you can actually be more productive after your lunch break.
Yeah.
That's great.
And what can we, in the future, what can we expect more from you? Either whether it's more Gary Busey or more content. What's coming down the line?
I vote for the Busey.
Yeah, I vote for Busey as well. I periodically do run ideas by a variety of individuals at our company. Mostly they get shot down because they're like, oh, they're dangerous, or you can't have fire, or trebuchets that throw Volkswagens. How's that related?
That's right.
I'm like, that doesn't matter.
Cobra venom is dangerous.
Yeah,
so.
it is. It is pretty dangerous. I don't know if we have. Oddly enough, most of these things were just us sitting in a room going, all right, we have an idea.
Yeah.
And then just kind of following it.
I have found that the format we took with the Owasp, it was really the perfect storm for doing something like these vignettes that we added to them. I've started doing other shows as is Justin, and I'm starting to see where maybe we're not tagging it in the front, but maybe we're adding it in the middle. And I've started trying to work things like this into other security modules as well. Hopefully, again, to add that stickiness to it. And it's really like it seems to be like a seasoning. You don't want to add too much of it. You just want to salt and pepper to just the right flavor. And then I think that's what works the best. So you will see more of these in the future, but they're going to be as they fit. They're like a tool in the toolbox. Just because I have a hammer doesn't mean I walk around hammering everything. I use it when I need it, and then I put it back. And I think that's what we're going to see with that.
And ultimately, I think they fit where I need to show you why this is the case instead of me just telling you. I can tell you that things are bad till I'm blue in the face. But if I can present a way where you go, I need to, at the very minimum, I need to perplex you so you think about it a little more deeply instead of just brushing it off. But, the funny's fun, the fear's fun. That's kind of an odd thing to say. But the fear's fun as well. Or, just as Daniel said, it's nice to Emerald Lagasse it, bam.
And it works really well when it comes to more conceptual topics a lot. So then you can kind of play that topic out instead of go, here's a list of bullet points of terminology you need to memorize. Now we can just maybe take those and put them in little vignettes, and they become a lot more fun. And again, give you that tangible context to latch onto.
Now, that sounds great, because it also sounds like you've been, as much as you've been producing educational material and educating developers, educating security people, you've been learning yourselves as well about what's really sticking. We keep coming back to that term, is what's sticking, what's resonating. And even what you were just saying there about just sliding in a little bit of that security midway through one of the concepts just sounds great, because that's why not reinforce security as something of part of what you're already doing as a developer. You have to write code anyway. Let's just sprinkle some of that security through there and have that mindset. That sounds awesome.
Well, I will tell you, I recently did an independent project, and I had to go through a security review. And one of the questions were, how do you address the OWASP top 10, and what have you done in this application? And I was like, I know this. I know all of them now. So I went through them, and it was both concerning and joyful when they go, you know a lot more than most of the developers we speak to. So, I mean, that's anecdotal, but that's
a nice, pat on the back for yourself there. And you should, be proud of that.
Fun times.
Yes.
No, absolutely. Sounds like you all are fighting the good fight. And I don't know if you all are horror fans, but I am. And I keep watching these and thinking you two are the Tucker and Dale versus evil application.
Yes.
That's one of our favorite movies.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I'm going to need a foam trucker hat.
Yeah, I do. An old hat.
Remember, if your app is broke, you just pour beer on it.
Yep. Just like that.
That's good.
But bees. Don't hook it into a wood chipper.
Nah, you chop your finger off. Yep. A little beer. That's good.
That's right. Write your code, be safe. That's a great message. Well, Daniel, Justin, I want to say thank you for joining us. Any parting comments? Anything you want to leave us with?
Oh man, I tell you what, you got us on the spot. I'm afraid to say things off the cuff because it gets out of hand sometimes. But definitely, you should check out ITPro.tv, because you asked what's coming in the future. Who knows what kind of shenanigans we'll get into.
Yeah, we've got a lot of security stuff coming. It's a hot topic, so they're keeping me as busy as I can be, keeping him as busy as he can be. Every now and then we get to cross paths and be busy together and make something funny and have a good time, and we want We want our viewers to have a good time. We want it to be not a drudgery to have to sign on to ITProTV, but oh man, I can't wait to sign and see what these two jamokes are going to do next, and have a good time and learn something, walk away with better education and a better mindset. And that's our goal in life.
That sounds a great goal to me. So yeah, definitely. Thanks once again, Daniel. Thanks once again, Justin. Hope everybody does check out IT Pro. It looks great, and I think you'll be laughing. You might even die laughing, and you just might happen to write some secure code on the way. Also, thank you to Matt, thank you to John, and thanks everyone for listening. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to return with news of the week.